See, when you just take it as ego and you go, oh yeah, I'm great, and you just stop there, you experience joy once. Whereas when you got something and it was good, and then you passed it on, you got joy twice.
Yeah.
And so it's perfect. Like you get to experience more joy when you pass it on. So it's not that you're experiencing it less, you're actually experiencing it deeper.
Well, these Facebook ones are good, the one from the hot tub and stuff. Oh, the basketball one's cool. Oh, the play together ones, the prayer ones, really.
Yeah, the reflection.
The hair ones. Oh, these are great, man. These are brilliant. Thanks so much.
Anytime, man.
These ones, oh yeah, this one in the YouTube space is so good.
The YouTube with the lighting and the red light,
yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah, I love them because none of them are posed. Literally, apart from the ones in the... I really like this one. This one's really cool. This one, that's like one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So I'm really excited because I had a chance to spend 2 days with my man Jay Shetty. Like I don't think a lot of people get to do that, but I'm blessed and honored to have been able to spend 2 full days with you, and I'm sure there's be many more days. And I feel like me and you just connected right off the bat. If you don't know him, obviously he was a monk, but beyond all of that, he's an amazing human being. Like I think beyond all your accomplishments, I think that's number one thing that stood out for me. And just an amazing storyteller, and I think that's something I can really relate with and just get behind. So
thanks, man. I appreciate it. And it's been fun having you around. Like it was great having you at VidCon. It was great having you today. And it was amazing because the first day we connected, I'm glad we got to connect before the shoot because the feeling is mutual. We connected straight away. Yeah. It was so much fun and we had the same values. 100%. And so it made it a lot easier. We were at a party where we connected, but we were both the guys who didn't drink and we were both vegan. Yeah. And so it's just like we ended up hanging out.
Cleaning up whenever
exactly. So no, man, the feeling's mutual. I really appreciate that. Thanks, man.
So one of the first things I noticed, right? Well, not off the bat, but when I was shooting your day in the life is that picture when I got you into like that meditative state, I honestly felt that was the most powerful moment that you were in. So what was that? Because you were on stage and obviously you have this stage presence, but I feel like in that moment you literally transcended and you went to another place. So walk me through like what's that like when you close your eyes? And
I love that question. That's such a great question. I never get asked that. Yeah, no, for me, those are the most powerful, deep moments of my life. So I always reflect on when I'm closing my eyes and I'm praying, the first thing I'm doing is I'm thanking all my teachers. So I'm thanking all my gurus, my guides, my teachers, people that have taught me everything I have, people that have given me everything I had, people that have invested time and energy into who I am. And I feel that that's such a beautiful meditation because as soon as you do that, you feel grateful. So gratitude is a natural byproduct. So you don't need to think about gratitude. You just think about the person and you feel grateful. Yeah. The second thing is I'm also praying to be an instrument. So I'm praying to be of service. So it's not like I'm praying to be like, oh, I hope this goes really well, or I hope this is going to be successful. It's like I'm praying, please use me of service. Please use me as an instrument. Let me say things that are going to help people. Let me only mention things that I think are going to serve people. Let me really make this an opportunity to have an impact on someone's life and something meaningful. And then after all of that, it's just a moment of recognition of just how fortunate I am to get to do what I love every day and just how blessed we are to even have this life and opportunity. So that's kind of that whole moment in one. And sometimes I'm reflecting on like powerful moments in my life where I've been with my teachers, or I'm reflecting on a powerful moment in my life where I felt that gratitude or love or whatever it may be, so that I can then channel that when I'm then on stage. So thank you for picking that up. And yeah, I love that picture. Yeah. That's definitely my favorite picture.
Yeah, and right when I saw that moment, like I felt the energy. I was like, whoa, like something just happened in that moment. And I was like, obviously it needs to be captured, but I'm actually glad that my feeling was actually a feeling and it was actually your energy like coming through.
Yeah, no, I love that.
That's really powerful.
Yeah, and I'm glad we captured that. And that's the great thing about you coming around with me, because no one would ever see that, like ever. I don't think anyone's ever seen me pray.
Right.
And so, yeah, that was super powerful.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
One thing I also noticed is that, you know, we spent the day together, and I think VidCon, the audience is not really the audience that I would say like listens to you regularly per se. They're a little bit younger in age, But I noticed that you really respected everyone at their level, and you really respected and you treated them like humans. So whether it was like the people in the backstage, whether it was us, whether it was like a young girl that came up to you or a parent came up to you, I feel like you really just like treated everyone with so much love and respect. And I think that's something that maybe some people take for granted, but I felt like that wasn't the case for you at all. And I didn't feel that one bit. So
Yeah, well, I just love the fact that being a VidCon was interesting for me because, yeah, my audience generally is 18 to 35. That's like 75% of my audience and then older. And being at VidCon, it was interesting though, getting approached by like a 12-year-old girl and then like a 20-year-old person and then a 30-year-old and then a 50-year-old. And I think we even got approached by someone who's like 60 years old.
Totally.
And it's just amazing. Like it was good to see the whole breadth in the whole day.
Of course, yeah.
That's fascinating to me that the content resonates at all age ranges.
Of course.
But for me, it comes back to that point of just like people like us who are creators, anyone who makes music, anyone who makes movies, anyone who's on social media, anyone who's on TV, you only have a career because someone took time to watch you.
Of course.
And I think we forget that. Like someone has to watch you.
Yeah.
That you get to do what you do because someone, and mostly those people who are probably approaching you, are people that they don't know you. You've never done anything for them.
Yeah.
And they watch your video. And for me, just that feeling is like, that's enough for me to be like, in this moment, I've got to reciprocate with that feeling. Like this may be the only time I meet them in my whole life.
Right.
But they may watch me forever, right? They may watch me every single day.
They're going to be with you the whole journey.
Totally. And it's like, I've got to serve this person in a way by helping them realize how much I value them in that moment because that's all I have with them.
Yeah.
And so for me, man, and also I think it's because I never expected any of this to happen. Like I never expected any of this to happen. I never dreamt big. I never thought, oh yeah, one day I'm going to do, I never thought any of that. All I thought was I want to serve people and I want to make an impact in the world and I want it to spread across the world. But that's what I want to do. And so the fact that it's got to where it has today, I'm just like each and every person, like how can I constantly just thank them and show that. So
I think one thing that even I picked up today is that, you know, when you're talking on the phone, just that there's so many things happening in your life, and I feel like I saw like a small portion of it, like with the calls and your teams and like the speaking engagements, all that stuff. But your whole approach to it is that I'm excited. You know, whether it's going right or whether it's going wrong or whether you're getting likes or not getting likes, it's like irrelevant to you. It's like I'm excited because you're in the moment. And I think what a lot of people might not know is that you set your intention every day and you're meditating 2 hours daily and you're reading 2 hours daily. Let's talk about that intention and to you how important it is to set an intention daily.
Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like it's so easy to get into autopilot or unconscious life, which means an unexamined, unconscious life where you don't even know why you're doing anything anymore. Right. You're just going along with it, right? Yeah. We're like a hamster wheel. Like you're just running around. If you ask a hamster why you're running on that wheel, the hamster will be like, I don't know. It just made sense, right? Like, and so for me, it's like that happens to us until we take a moment to reflect or introspect and be like, why am I doing this? Why is this important to me? Why am I at VidCon today? Why am I with you today? Why am I doing anything? And I think just asking yourself that question and trying to find an answer. You don't have to have an answer straight away. And sometimes I don't have an answer straight away. Like I was so productive and effective in my run up to VidCon that when I turned up to VidCon, actually if I didn't set up a intention when I got to VidCon, I would have just been like, why am I even here right now? Like I forgot why I said yes, right? Because our lives are so busy. I said yes to VidCon like months ago. And then you're there and you're like, oh wait, I have to remind myself why I said yes. And I thought about why did I say yes? I said yes because I believe that this is an important community of creators and audience. And I want to be an impactful service-based member of that. I also think it's really refreshing for me because I get to go into that community and talk about service. And so many people said that to me that day. They said, Jay, you know, no one's talking about that here. Like no one's bringing that energy here. And I'm like, yes, like that's why I love being there. So when you remind yourself that that's my intention at the start of the day, your intention is just reminding yourself of why you said yes to something.
Got it.
And that's why you've got to do it every day because you say yes to stuff every day.
Yeah, and sometimes you say yes to things in that heat of the moment. It's like, oh, that's a great idea. And then come the day, you're like, damn, bro, why did I do this? But I feel like because you remind yourself what that intention was and you're mindful about it, that kind of continues forward. And then even if you don't know the intention, it just sounds like you're very curious about it. So that curiosity as a kid and that playfulness that kind of comes through.
100%. 100%. If you keep asking the question, the day will reveal the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest problem is that if you don't, you ask the question, the day reveals the answer. You don't have to find the answer right now. It's not like I asked the question, what's the answer, right? It's like the day. Totally. And that's what it's known as a question meditation when I lived as a monk. So it's like you ask a question, and then the day reveals the answer. And the answer could be revealed through you. It could be revealed through my videographer. It could be revealed through someone in the audience. It could be revealed through anyone.
Totally.
And that's the beautiful, because you're looking for it everywhere.
Yeah.
Rather than looking for something else, like looking for praise or looking for this, you're just looking for the answer to that question you asked.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I'm into meditation as well. So I feel like that obviously.
So we're both vegan.
Yeah.
We both meditate. We both don't drink.
Yeah, we both have awesome partners.
We both have good beards.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true.
You have cooler hair.
I used to have that haircut. I think this is easier to just like.
It looks good, man. I like it. Sorry, we're romantic.
Yeah. I was telling my fiance, I was telling Misha too. I'm like, yo, Jay's awesome. Like I feel like he's like the older, mature version of me.
No, you're kind, man.
I really appreciate like just your time. But,
of course. Man.
What I was gonna say is like, I think meditation, a lot of people talk about, what meditation has given them. Like in the sense like, it's giving you maybe focus or clarity or whatever else it's kind of giving you like. But what has meditation, like what have you lost because of meditation? In the sense of like your ego or your self-doubt. And like actually, let's be real and walk through like, what's a situation where you had like an ego or self-doubt and how meditation kind of helped to break that? Yeah,
for sure. So I think definitely self-doubt is lost because you realize it's not about you. And so let's explain what I mean by that. So we have self-doubt because we're like, what are people going to say?
Right.
What's everyone going to think of me? Like maybe I'm going to fail at this. Maybe everyone's going to think I'm terrible at this. And then when you realize, when meditation is teaching you, like meditation and you're meditating, you're going, oh, actually I'm of service. Oh, actually I'm just a channel. Oh, actually I'm just an instrument. Oh, actually things are working through me, not by me. Then all of a sudden you feel liberated, and you're like, oh, actually it's not about me anyway. Like, and then I'm like, oh, I can do anything because it's not about me. I'm channeling. Totally, you're moving that ego away, right? You're moving it out of the way so that things can move through you. So that was one big thing. I love what you mentioned around ego. I think that we all live in a world where obviously we like to hear nice stuff about ourselves. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. We need significance. Like when you said nice things about me when we started, I appreciate that. It makes me feel good. But the point is, when you start believing, you can't buy into your own hype in the sense of, if I walk around feeling like I'm the best every day, then actually I can stop myself from listening to someone else's advice. Actually, I can stop myself from growing. So for me, the way I deal with praise is, as soon as I hear praise, I thank the teachers that gave me that quality. And so that's the meditation we were taught, that as soon as you hear praise, you thank the person that gave you the quality that just got praised. And if you can't think of who gave you that quality, recognize it came through someone even indirectly.
Right.
So sometimes you got a good quality because of a bad experience, right? It's not always like someone taught you a good thing because they were good.
Right.
Sometimes someone did something bad to you and that taught you something. So you still have someone to thank.
Got it. So I guess even that appreciation, it's like you don't own it and like hold on to it.
Totally.
You then pass it forward
to
whoever kind of passes it.
And then it keeps coming back and you keep passing forward, because guess what? There are people who are thinking about you and you're thinking about someone else, and then this beautiful cycle rather than it ends with you. And that's when it feels pressure, because you're carrying all of that now and you're going, now I need to live up to this. And that becomes a burden and overbear. Like, I don't want that. I don't
or then you even start looking at like, because they said it, it's true.
Yeah.
And then say someone doesn't say it and you're continuously looking for that.
Totally.
It's not true. So super random, and it might relate, might not. So today when you texted me, like obviously there's a lot of different changes and like you're like the sweetest. Right? In the moment I'm like, damn, that's so sweet. Like actually I've never had like a male say that you're the sweetest. That's actually like,
my wife, don't tell my wife that. My wife will be like, bro, you're like,
hopefully she doesn't watch this one. But in that moment I'm like, I felt really thankful for it. But then at the same time I'm like, it's not because Jay said it, I'm sweet. I'm sweet because I'm sweet. And I got that sweetness from wherever I got that sweetness from. Right?
Totally.
So I thought that was just like...
and as soon as like yeah, exactly. And that's perfect. And it's like you're taking that praise, you turn it into gratitude. So now you're experiencing more joy.
Yeah.
So now you're actually experiencing double joy. See, when you just take it as ego and you go, oh yeah, I'm great, and you just stop there, you experience joy once. Whereas when you got something and it was good and then you passed it on, you got joy twice.
Yeah.
And so it's perfect. Like you get to experience more joy when you pass it on. Totally. So it's not that you're experiencing it less, you're actually experiencing it deeper.
Got it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then I know you talk about, I don't know, I just keep talking about meditation.
You ask great questions, by the way, man. These are the questions I want to be asked on an interview.
You know, it's really...
Anyone who's watching this, ask me questions like this.
So I really did my research. Like after that day we met, like I just started listening to all your content and like digesting it. And it's funny, I started giving like my sister and my future sister-in-law like relationship advice, like writing down everything. And the more I saw, I was like, I feel like everyone just asks you like your monk and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, that's beautiful. Like those are great questions. But I'm like, I want to ask you questions that only like because I've experienced them or seen them. And I want to ask you questions.
No, I feel that. These are great. That's why I think I love them.
I want to get into it. So when people think about meditation, like even myself, I think about like breathing meditation, moving meditation. But I remember you mentioning there's a lot of different types of meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like some people might be like, hey, meditation's not for me, my mind wanders. Mm-hmm. So like off the top of your head, if there's a number or if there's a type, like how many different types are there?
Yep.
And when you find that they help you, like they kind of serve you or serve like what you're trying to do more than other times?
Yeah. So there are three main types, and then there's a couple that are different. But so the first one is breathing and breath work. The second is visualization, and the third is mantra. And mantra is sound or sound meditations. And then you also have movement meditations. So a lot of people meditate with movement. Mm-hmm. But the three most common sit down, still based meditations are those three. For me, I do all three. Breathwork's great for my body, visualization is great for my mind, and mantra is great for my soul. So mantra is spiritual sound. So if you believe that all sound has properties aligned to it that give us certain feelings and emotions, it's why we like to dance when you listen to hip hop music. It's like why some of us like to close our ears when we hear death metal music, mm-hmm. right? It's like it has a different emotional impact. Yeah. So when you hear spiritual sound vibration or you hear spiritual mantra, it's helping you connect on a much higher frequency. So you're now tuning into that frequency. Mm-hmm. So most of us live in a very material frequency all the time, and we need to tune in higher. So it's the same as like one of my friends was saying to me, he's like, I don't have time to meditate, or I don't feel like meditating. If you're not around people who meditate, you won't tap into that frequency. Right? It's like if you want to be a billionaire, but you're spending time with people who are not billionaires, you can't just tap into that frequency. Same applies to spiritual life. So for me, all three are important for different reasons. Breathwork helps me relax. Visualization helps me focus. But then mantra helps me soul, right? Like that's what's really integrating me on a soul level.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for breaking it down. Even me, I was like, I wonder what, like, how he does it. I think that's why I was also like, I want to come to your morning routine.
I know. Like, I want you to, and we'll do that when you're next back.
100%.
This time we didn't do it because I literally landed off a flight at 1 a.m.
Oh, no, I know.
And I was like, I needed space for my, I was like, I need,
No hard
that's why. But I will do that.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
So you talk about frequency. I think you definitely operate on a way higher frequency in spiritual, like from a spiritual point of view. But can you also feel if someone else is on a higher spiritual frequency?
Massively. I feel like I can sense energy off of like everyone. Mm. Like I probably make decisions on whether someone's going to be in my life for a short or long period of time fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. And I give people benefit of the doubt. And remember, this is not judging. This is not like me saying, I know someone's a lower energy and frequency, so I don't want to hang out with them. That's not it. It's about alignment. Mm-hmm. For me, I'm not looking at high or low. I'm looking at same or different. Right? And there's a big difference with that. When you look at high or low, it means you're better. I don't believe I'm better than anyone. I just believe I either have the same energy as someone or I have a different energy. Mm. Difference, fine. Yeah. But then I've got to see is like, do I want that different energy right now? Or am I looking for people with aligned energy? And that's kind of where I'm starting out, is I'm trying to sense that. So I think it's important to notice that, because when we're immature spiritually, we look at high and low. Right. And as we grow, we should push ourselves to look at same and different. Because we have to realize, hey, once upon a time, I had that energy. Yeah. And so you don't want to get into that judgmental space of I'm better or now I'm smarter or spiritual. Right. If you think you're more spiritual, you basically miss the whole point. Right? So I don't feel like I'm more spiritual. I do feel that I can sense energy much clearer when I meet someone, when I hear someone speak. It's by their language, it's by their body language, it's about just how easy they are to connect, all of that kind of stuff. And that just helps me realize very quickly who I want to be around and not.
And I guess you find yourself just naturally getting attracted to that?
Yeah, I think, I also think the energy you put out dictates the energy you attract. So because my content is of a particular nature, there are a lot of people who don't want to be around me.
I don't know why.
Because but just honestly, because they're just like, oh, I don't like what Jay makes, right? Yeah. And that's cool, but that's what I mean, that when you're very clear about who you are, you also protect yourself. Mm-hmm. And so when we present ourselves as who we're not, we're naturally going to attract people that we don't want to be around. So for me, I find a lot of people are like, I either like Jay or I don't like Jay. You want to have people who sit on the fence, because what I'm sharing is so clear as to what it is. And that's much stronger to have that. So the clearer your voice gets, you'll have more people who don't sit on the fence about you. People either say, I like you or I don't like you. And that's great. It's better to have people that are either or than people kind of in the middle.
They're either on page or they're not on page.
Totally, and that's cool.
And another thing that I noticed when I was shooting or when we were like in conversations, that when I mention your wife's name, you light up.
Yeah, I love her, man. She's amazing.
Yeah, like your body language, what you say, your smile. Like even right now, like we just opened up. And then one thing, I think I can't remember when I was listening to your first podcast ever, and just how you like speak about her and how you speak to her with so much love and like patience and understanding. Like, how did you get to that point? Because I feel like a lot of like males, a lot of men, especially South Asian men, I don't know if that level of respect is always shown to their partner. And even myself, I remember when I first started dating my fiance, I probably felt it. I probably didn't express it to her until later on, until I started seeing people out there like showing that love, showing that kindness, being vulnerable, being open. But with you, it's like, I feel like you do it and you do it so lovingly. So kind of like, how did that come to be?
I think I got really lucky because I grew up with my mom and my sister. And so like for me, respecting women and seeing the importance of women's roles in my life was very early on. I saw my mom go through a lot to raise me, sacrifice a lot, work multiple jobs, always trying to give me a lot of love. So I think I felt a lot of love from my mom my whole life. And my mom's very expressive. So I adopted that from her. I definitely got that from her. Like my mom is so expressive about her love. And then same with my sister. I spent so much time with my sister. And then so when I met my wife, for me, I was always that way with her. And don't get me wrong, I still have moments when I'm tired and I get snappy and I'll say stuff I don't mean and all of that stuff. Like I'm still human, but I know that that's a direct response to being tired, hungry, or having a lot on. And so I've realized that when I'm in that zone, it's better I don't communicate with her as opposed to try and be amazing at that time because I'm trying to juggle multiple things. So I'd rather be like hey, let me get back to you in 10 minutes rather than try and have a conversation than when I know I'm not going to be at my best. So I think it's come from, and it's also the biggest thing, I'll tell you the biggest thing. When you know you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you realize that guilt trips, treating them badly, saying wrong stuff, it doesn't work because you're going to wake up next to that person every single day. So it's like, if you know, and this is why it has to be reciprocal. It has to be with someone you want to spend the rest of your life with. But when you're going to spend the rest of your life with someone, you realize that I don't want to play any games here. Like I don't want to make them work for it. I don't want to be careful about how many times I do it because you're going to live with them forever. So if you start getting lost in that, then you're going to be thinking about that every day. And you want that person to be the person you have the most natural relationship with. And also the other thing was that I had a lot of friends or people in my life that told me that the last thing they said to the person they loved before they lost them wasn't what they wanted to say. Whether that person died in an accident or that person died of a heart attack or that person died of whatever it was. It's like, I never want the last thing I say to someone to be something like that because you can't change that. Right? You just can't.
And that's imprinted in you forever.
Totally, right? You're stuck with that forever. And that you can't change that. You can relive that memory over and over and over again. You can't change it. And now, it's not that you're thinking, oh, I might lose my wife today. That's not the point of you thinking. But you're like, I want to make sure that even if I'm just leaving her for a day trip or she's going somewhere, like, you want to leave that person. The point is you're always leaving someone in some way, even if I'm just going to work. But you want to leave that person with the best impression because you don't know what news they're going to get today either. And it may not be them, something bad happening. It could be anything. So I just think always leaving people with a positive impression and love is just the nicest thing you can do, right? And why not?
I love that you learned that through other people's experiences because I feel sometimes people are like, I need to experience it myself, but you're learning it through other people. So it's like, I feel like that's the best way to learn.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
And what's your favorite memory with your wife?
Oh, that's tough. Let me think. You know what? It's funny because we do it all the time. Like I think it literally, I'd probably say it literally happened this weekend. We laugh a lot together. That's my favorite thing to do with her. She's hilarious. So anyone who follows my wife on Instagram knows that. And she's genuinely that funny. Like everything on her Instagram is who she actually like exactly is. And she's the biggest comedian I know. We're always laughing together. So like my best memory is when we're laughing together. And we do that literally all the time. And there'll be days where we'll look at each other and be like, oh my God, like I can't believe we're still laughing like this. And that's the those are the best memories. But if I had to think of like one, if you want something more specific,
Yeah, one thing. I love that though.
yeah, if you want something more specific, then let me think. What was one of my favorite memories with her? I'd say it's probably one of our. Okay, it was probably her birthday last year. We went jet skiing for the first time together. Neither of us had ever been jet skiing.
Okay.
And we got on the jet ski together, and it was her birthday, so she was riding first. And she decided to go really, really fast. And this is what my wife's like. She goes really, really fast. Then she closes her eyes because the water was coming in her eyes. Then she lost control, and then we both fell off. And then we were like, we were laughing until we fell off. And then we were like, then our jet ski like went pretty far. I think we were like 20 meters away from it in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
We can both swim, so we were fine. But she was panicking as well. I was slightly panicking, but I was like, okay, let's keep it together, right? Let's keep it together for her. And we got back on, and I helped her get back on. She helped me get back on. And then we were laughing, and it was just one of those moments where it was like, why it's one of my favorite memories is because we went from laughing, her being totally silly, to getting quite scary, to then it being laughing again. And the one thing I know for that whole time was she never lost trust in me. Like, and I think that's what it is, like constantly with my wife. It's like she never loses trust in me. Even the other day, I'm trying to remember what we were doing, but she was like, oh, it was when we felt the earthquakes here. And I was just comforting her when it happened, and she experienced it and we felt it. And she was just like, oh, I'm so glad that I can always trust you. And I think like that's probably one of my favorite feelings. Not because I'm in control, because I'm not. I actually can't control an earthquake. I can't even control what's happening in the middle of an ocean. But knowing that someone that you love trusts you back, like that's enough. So it's not because I feel powerful, because I'm not. It's actually just because I feel loved.
And I think what I'm hearing at is that you guys are in the same state at each time. Like you're laughing together, you're there, you're trusting each other, then you're having fun again, or you're scared together, you're comforting each other. It's not like she's scared and you're like, oh, like why are you being a wimp for? Like you need to like do this, but that happens. Like it happens so many. I know even like my past relationships, I'm sure I said
me
things
too.
like that.
Yeah, me
but
too.
it seems like you guys are just on that same.
And we've worked for that, right? Like we've been married for 3 years, together for 6, and that's all been work. Like we've worked through that stuff, and our relationship's grown faster because we've grown through more changes together. So sometimes you change really fast, but that breaks stuff. And because we love each other, we've changed really fast, and we've built stuff together. So we could have broken because we changed. Like we got married. I changed job 3 times. We moved 2 homes and moved country all in the same year, like in 1 year.
Wow.
And it was so much change. And I can't express to you like how hard that was for my wife, because she was leaving her family and all of that kind of stuff. Like for me, I'm so used to change because having lived as a monk and all that.
Flexible.
I'm very flexible, and like change doesn't really bother me that much. But for my wife, that was the first big change in her life. And she went through all of them all in the same year. And I have to be grateful to her because it's fine for me to be easy with change, but I can't be like, oh, you should find it easy too. And for a little time I had that. I was like, oh, look, if I can deal with it, you should deal with it. But I think when you let go of that and you see things from other people's place, you're like, wait a minute, like change is a big thing for her, and you value that. It changes your perspective on your relationship. You have to look at things from other people's angles. You can't just sit there and look at things from your view of life, because we all have different challenges. There's certain stuff she finds easy, I find hard, and vice versa.
So obviously with evolving and growing and all that stuff and all this change, your business has changed, your team has changed, and it's not just you. There's so much behind you that's allowing you to do all this. So what has been your biggest challenge as a leader, especially growing such a big team? And number 2, what's a fear that keeps kind of reoccurring that you're trying to align with and trying to like work through?
With the team?
With the team, or as a CEO?
I think the biggest challenge is I love being a creative more than anything. And that's really how I see myself at the core. But I realized very early that in order to be a successful creative, you had to be a successful entrepreneur. And if you chose just a creative path, then you'd always be waiting for someone to give you opportunities. Whereas if you were able to become an entrepreneur too, then you'd be able to create your own opportunities.
Best of both worlds.
And so it's always the balance for me of wanting to continually be a creative, but recognize the importance of being an entrepreneur. And so that's the biggest challenge, that you have to constantly water that creativity in you. And I was saying that to someone the other day. Someone said, like, how do you see business? And I was like, I will do all the business in the world that allows me to play to my strengths. As soon as I'm making money doing something that I don't actually enjoy and want to be, then that's like, I've gone too far. And so for me, that balance is really important. And in terms of being a leader, and the fear that I keep coming up is it's really hard in today's world, and that's where the sensing energy is. Like, you want to work with people who are aligned and sold to the mission and get it. Like, not just people who are coming to get their paycheck or coming to just, get money and stuff. And I always say that to my team when we hire people. Like, I believe that you're talented enough to get hired by anyone.
Yeah.
Don't come here just for the money or for the recognition, because you could go somewhere else for that.
Right.
Come here because you're getting the money and the recognition, but this is the right place for you, right? Like, because I only want us to create from that place. And I've seen that the success of anything is if you can keep that. And I didn't even really realize it until my manager did it for me. She was so careful about everyone we picked on my team, whether it was my lawyers, whether it was my agents, everyone on my team was selected so carefully. And at one point I was like, come on, like, how much effort out? Like, this is getting too, like, it's too long. And the funny thing is, she was spot on. Because she's old school, and she's been in the game for so long, so she gets it. She was like, Jay, we have to protect you. And I was like, don't worry about me, I'm cool. And then I realized, it's like, no, she's right. Like, I didn't realize as much as she did. So,
and I guess it's the same thing. Like, you have your tribe, your personal tribe, making sure that now reflects into your work life. You're spending so much more time with them.
Totally.
So last question. The whole idea of this project is to really help evolve the world and help evolve human connection. What do you think is needed to help evolve human connection?
Service attitude. Like, how can you view every interaction as a service? When we think of service, we think of charity, we think of going to help out at a homeless shelter. That's great. Like, we should do all of those things. But it's like, how do you look at every interaction as service? Because if you did that, service is like the deepest connection you can have to someone. Like, you reached out and you're like, I want to do this for you, right? And you're doing it because it makes sense, but you're also putting your heart into it, right? It's not just strategic sense. It's like you put your heart into it. I felt like you showed up the day when we couldn't get my videographer into something, you covered for him. Like, it was, you were genuinely here. Like, it wasn't just like, oh yeah, I'm here to do my thing and I'm going to get my thing and walk out. You saw it as a service. And for me, doing this process with you, I saw it as a service too. And people will be like, well, how is it a service for you? Because you're getting pictures back. It's like, no, but I'm going to do it as a service, because when you asked me to take certain pictures and do certain things, I was in too. I was also in. And so my point is, when both people come from a place of service, you experience real human connection. But when someone's coming from a place of, I'm going to get what I want, and I'm like, yeah, he's doing this anyway for me, I'm just going to exploit that too. If you're both coming, neither of you experience humanity. Right? So human connection only comes when people are living for service. And my point is, service doesn't mean you're going to go out there and change the world. Like, service is just, how are you approaching this one thing? Right? You just doing that switch of, hey, I'm going to video you because your videographer can't get in a VidCon because of the rules for 2 seconds or whatever it was. You just being able to do that showed me that you were there for service. And for me too, like, I wanted to reciprocate that.
I love that. And even when that moment happened, for that second came in mind, I'm like, oh, should I do it? And I'm like, of course I should do it. Like, why would I not do it? Like, if I'm there, I'm with you guys, I'm on your team. That day I'm on your team. And that's the team.
But that's what I mean. That's the mindset where people win. Like, that's what people forget about. I just went to Montreal for like 24 hours. It was a 36-hour round trip or something like that. And I went there because someone believed in me and was connecting me with something, and they were pulling something off, and I wanted to serve them. I was like, I want to show them that I'm serious about this. Right? I didn't need to go, but it's like, I wanted to show someone that I respect them and I admire them. And that's what I mean. You can do anything out of service.
And I love that you did that. And I think even this connection, like this whole trip, when you said this is the day that works, I'm like, done, flight's booked, I'm shooting Jay. Like,
and that's just what it takes. Like, to me, that's just what it takes. Like, that's going to be the difference between people who win and people who are not living their dream. Because
and I think they serve on a grand scale.
Exactly.
All right, so awesome. Tell my audience, my limited small audience that's growing rapidly, tell them where they can find you.
Amazing, man. Well, thank you so much again. You're incredible. I can't wait to use all your pictures across my whole website. I'm excited to share them with the world. But you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. It's just Jay Shetty, my name. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. So grateful.
I appreciate it.
Grateful, man. We're going to spend more time together anyway.
100%.
So this is easy.
Yeah, this is
Thank you. Yeah, this is just the beginning. Awesome, man. I love it.